So, continuing with flattery, I think we're at the page Kuf Ayin Aleph, the second paragraph on the page, starting with the word V'yesh. V'yesh chanifus ra me'od. There is a form of flattery which is very bad. Kagon odam hamachnif lechaveroi, like a person who flatters, butters up his friend, u'medaber imoi devarim mesukim, and he speaks to him nice, sweet words, kedei sheyismoch alav v'yamin lo, in order for him to rely on him and believe him, trust him. V'char sheyamin lo, and after he trusts him, v'yismoch alav hoylech imo b'ramos. Then he goes with him in a cheating, insidious manner. And this is said in the verse, Ki chinam mizoira haroshes be'enei kol baal kanaf vehem namadam yarovu yitzpenu linafsho yisam. It says about these people, Ki chinam mizoira hareshes be'enei kol baal. They set nets and traps for birds, vehem the damam yarovu, and they are hiding and waiting for their blood. V'yitzpenu linafsho yisam, they hide themselves in order to take their lives. So he's Pirush Pasuk. The explanation of this verse is Hatzarim oifois, those who hunt birds, zorkim chitim, they spread out seeds. Ubayim oifois lechol lechitim al reshes, and the birds then come and they eat the seeds which are spread out on this net. Vaz yu netzodim, and then they're caught. And this is what this flatterer can be compared to. He really sets out a net, spreads a net to ensnare people, but he throws flattering speech onto this net, this network of strategies that he set in order to catch people. And he uses the flattery as a way of catching them. The sages prohibited doing this. When they said, he shouldn't send a gift to his friend knowing the friend won't get it, won't receive it. I think it means he won't be willing to receive it. So he's really only sending it because he wants to give the impression that he's making an overture of kindness and peace and so forth and so on. But he really knows the person's going to refrain from receiving it for whatever reason. So he's really just trying to get brownie points without having to give anything. Right? Oh, would you like to sit down? And he knows the guys won't accept it. So, okay, I just want... of course, if he wanted to, I'd be more than happy to, but I don't want to put you out. But he's just faking it. He knows that this person will not accept the overture. But having made the overture, we'll get him credit. Or he invites him to come and eat with him. But he knows he won't really come. He's too busy. He's not able to. So he's making a vacuous, empty gesture of friendship to this person, knowing full well that the person won't accept it, so it's not going to cost him anything, and he's going to gain something out of this offer that he makes. Also, if he wants to open up a bottle of wine to sell it, and his friend comes to buy wine, he shouldn't say to him, I want to open up this bottle specially for you. That's misleading. He intended to open it up for business. It had nothing to do with this person coming. But he makes some flattering remark by saying, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Here I have this unopened bottle of wine. I'm going to open it just for you, in honor of you. That's not true. He was just about to open it in order to sell. Anyway. So again, he makes it. You might think, oh, look, I'm going to do it anyway. So why not make him feel good and do it at the same time? I guess if your intention is to make him feel good, then you could do that. The problem here is when you want to make him feel good really to get something out of him. That's the problem.
So you shouldn't make someone feel good if you're going to get something out of him?
Yeah, you shouldn't intentionally, like, you shouldn't try and make him feel good with the intention of getting something out of him. If you want to make him feel good because you want to make him feel good, that's okay. let's say, for
So
example,
in business dealing, you shouldn't make someone feel good.
no.
Okay.
What you should do is be civil and polite and kind because that's the right thing to do. But not to like butter on the guy just because you want to get the money out of him. That's wrong. You can be kind. You can make a compliment. Again, we've spoken about this, in different in different kind of, manifestations in the past. That as long as where it's acceptable to kind of make some mutual kind of, compliment or something like that. So that's okay. Everybody understands the context of business, and you're not exaggerating, So that's okay. But the person here, and this is an error, the person's totally unsuspecting. He comes to the store, yeah, and you say to him, "Oh, Moshe, I'm so happy to see you. You know what? I'm going to open up this bottle of wine in your honor." Hoping that Moshe will buy, or maybe he'll think that Moshe will give him some better business deal or something like that. You could say, "I was just about to open up this bottle of wine, and I'm happy that you're the first one to come in to share with," or something like that. All of this is called stealing one's mind, right? Misleading a person. The sages prohibited us from using flattery like this, in order to mislead people, and even regarding an idolater. You can't do this. You can't mislead even an idolater.
You can't mislead an idolater?
Right. Yeah. And all the more so, a non-Jewish monotheist.
Well, yeah.
You can't do that. You're not allowed to mislead people. Yeah. If there's something dangerous involved, or there's some harm involved, you want to deflect some harm or danger, then of course you can do that, if need be. But that would apply even to a Jew. But if there's, you can't deceive or be dishonest with a non-Jew.
Right.
Even an idolater. Yeah, we saw cases of this earlier here in the book. It's probably in this chapter or in the previous chapter. About a rabbi who bought a mule or a donkey from an Ishmaelite, and his students found that there was a gem hanging from the neck of this donkey. So they said to the rabbi, "Here, God has given you a special blessing. You only bought a donkey, and here you've got a gem." The rabbi responded, "A donkey I bought, a gem I didn't buy." So he returned the gem to the Ishmaelite donkey.
You didn't have an obligation to do that. It's Kiddush Hashem what he did, but he didn't have an obligation, right?
Well, according to this, you can't deceive a non-Jew.
It's not deceiving.
It's withholding the truth. It's withholding the truth.
But halachically, he didn't do anything wrong. If he would have kept it.
I'm not sure. I think that perhaps he did.
If he would have kept it, it would have been wrong.
Yeah.
You've heard a story about the rabbi buying a desk with lots of cash in it.
Yeah.
And returning cash.
Yeah.
He had an obligation to return the cash. Isn't it like in Baba Mitzvah or something?
Yeah. He has an obligation
It's
to.
definitely praiseworthy.
He has an obligation to do so. Certainly, in order to preserve peace with the non-Jews. Right? In a case where the non-Jew wouldn't know, and then would know otherwise, and therefore there would not mean a source of animosity. Maybe one could look into that question. But the rabbi here is, what this is saying is that the proper Torah approach is to give the money back and not say, since he doesn't know that I have the gem, I can take advantage of his not knowing that and keep it, even though I didn't buy it. But rather, the proper Torah approach is, as the rabbi said to his students, a mule I bought, a mule I bought, but a gem I didn't buy, and he returned it.
But would a Goyim go by those laws as well?
That's a different story. But I mean,
they don't follow our laws.
What the non-Jews would do is a different story. That has nothing to do with us.
So if you were to,
what's the Torah? According to the Torah? What's the right thing to do?
To your brother, you shouldn't do anything like that to your brother.
Or to a non-Jew. You see here
it says if, like in the verse in the Torah, like if you find your brother's donkey, they should surely return it to him. It says your brother. It doesn't say anyone.
You're required to return a lost object of a non-Jew as well. Certainly because of Darkei Shalom. That's the whole point, that it breeds peace between peoples. In addition to the idea of the Kiddush Hashem, which you're mentioning. And that's what the story there talks about, the fact that this Ishmaelite praised God, the God of this rabbi, because the rabbi is returning the gem, when he very well not have done it. And the text brought another example of this as well, where the sages went and they bought some wheat, and in the collection of wheat there was a bag of money. They went and they returned the money, and the non-Jews praised the God of Israel. So you see from these teachings that that's the right thing to do. You can't lie. He says here, for example, he says it here. You're not allowed to lie or even refrain from telling the truth to a non-Jew. You're not allowed to outright lie, and you're not even allowed to refrain from telling the truth.
There's another lecture we're going over Baba Mitzvah. It's a different issue. I got the impression that it's definitely praiseworthy to do it. It's Kiddush Hashem, but halachically it would have been fine.
So again, there's the issue of Darkei Shalom. If there's an obligation to pursue the path of Darkei Shalom with the non-Jews. And if it's a scenario where it won't be known otherwise, so then perhaps you could make an argument that there's no requirement to do so. That might require some further clarification. But the flip side of that is, even if the non-Jew doesn't know, you're doing this, and you're making this overture, you're being so truthful, yes, in addition to the Kiddush Hashem, also establishes peaceful relations between the Jews and the non-Jews.
What was the case you mentioned on the desk?
Yeah, you're familiar with that case, right?
I heard some of them. They went to a post, like a motion thing.
Yeah, what?
I forgot, I was going to ask you, what he passed him.
So
he found money in the desk, he put the desk with a mattress or something. I think it was a mattress or something.
The story with the mattress.
They went to a motion Feinstein.
There was a desk.
A
religious couple bought a desk secondhand from a non-Jewish woman, I believe. And she hid there a lot of money, and I guess forgot it was there. And in order to get the desk in the house, they had to disassemble it. And there they found this huge amount of money right in the back of the section of the desk. And they weren't sure, they weren't sure what to do for a day or two, and finally decided, I don't remember whether they asked a Rav Shaila or not. I don't remember that part of the detail of that story. Do you remember? But they actually returned the money, and it made a big sensation that this couple, returned that money.
Second hand from someone.
Yeah. It might have never. I mean, if the person knew it was there, they wouldn't have sold the desk with it in it.
Right.
And even if they ever remembered, the person, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean.
So based on what we're learning today, they were obligated to return.
It's the right thing to do.
You didn't answer my question, but okay.
It's the right thing to do. Whether they're obligated, because al pi halacha, or they're obligated in order to do things to maintain and to establish and maintain peace with the non-Jews, right? That might be the case, and certainly here, where in the end of the day, it's quite likely that the woman would remember that the money was there. And the people could not say, well, check the desk. I mean, it's not there, so you must be mistaken. I mean, it's that type of what's that? Yeah, you get into it's pretty hard to, but the point is, it's pretty hard to deny. What are they going to say? I don't know. You want to check the desk? Check the desk. Well, I mean, I know I put it there. a whole investigation would begin. But the point is, my point here, and I think that's the point of the author here, is that you don't act this way because you're afraid of getting caught. You don't act this way because it's the wrong thing to do. That's exactly the case here. The Midrash, the rabbi bought the mule, and they found the gem, and he said, the mule I bought, the gem I didn't buy. Take back your gem. That's not a windfall. That's not viewed as a windfall. And he was saying to you that you shouldn't view that as a windfall. You should view that as an opportunity to do Kiddush Hashem, to establish peace. And it's the right thing to do, and it could be the required thing to do if there's a doubt whether it could cause some type of a problem. The case where theoretically it wouldn't cause a problem, nobody would ever know. Right? And then you might make the distinction that maybe technically speaking the person wouldn't be required to do that. I'm not sure about that. He says here, this is all called being misleading. The sages of blessed memory prohibited lahachnif, to flattery, velignov das abrios, or to mislead people, vafilu dato shel oved kochavim. It's prohibited, at least Rabbanan.
So the rule of giving 1/6 back, or if it's that, does that apply to non-Jews?
If it's overcharged? I don't remember offhand, but I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can overcharge non-Jews either. You're not allowed to overcharge.
Wow. I feel like I've gotten a completely different impression from other.
So I might be wrong. I could be wrong regarding the last point. Like I said, I'm not sure.
Naturally, I think what you're saying makes sense.
No, but I'm saying from the outset that I don't remember explicitly the halacha about overcharging a non-Jew. But I'm
I think it's called.
What's that? Yes, ona, yeah. So I'm not, like I said, not 100% sure, but I would think that that ona for non-Jews is also asur, at least Rabbanan. Omar Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta, it was taught by Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta, Miyom shegovra egroifa shel chanufa, from the day that the fist of flattery has taken the fore, nisavtu hadinim v'niskalkalu hamasim, judgments have become crooked, and people's acts and actions have become ruined. A person can't say to someone else, my deeds are greater than your deeds. Why? Because everybody's deeds are infested with these types of improper intentions. Amar Rabbi Elazar said, Kol adam sheyesh bo chanufa, any person who has this attribute of flattery to get out of other people and manipulate them, mevi charon af lo'ilam, he brings anger to the world. It says, v'chanfei lev yasimu af, those who are flatterers at heart, they cause anger. They arouse anger. Even more, his prayer is not heard, because his lips are full of flattery. Shneimar, lo yishavu ki asram. It says there in the continuation of the verse that they will not be heard. Their prayers will not be answered. Ki asram, because they have bound them through their forbidden behavior. And even unborn fetuses curse such a person. And he falls into Gehenna. I don't know what the idea here about the unborn fetuses cursing this person is all about. Maybe the point is, I don't know. I don't know what the point. I don't really know. I'm not sure what it has to do with the unborn fetuses, except the fact that maybe they're very pure, learning from the angel of God the entire Torah in the wombs of their mothers. And even these very pure individuals see the tremendous vice in this type of flattery. And their curses, as it were, are powerful because of their being so pure. That's the only thing I really can think of. I'm not familiar with this teaching.
If someone, I don't know if you know, but like, if you've ever met someone who's like always like giving compliments to people, but he doesn't really mean it, or it's really not misplaced, somewhere in the back of your mind, a person, an individual might think, I can't believe this. He told me that too, Like,
yeah.
But it's like even a baby in a mother's womb would probably do the same thing.
Oh, you mean even a baby would even an unborn baby would be able to discern that this person is being a false flatterer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting idea, right? Yeah. Anybody who flatters the wicked, nofel beyado, he actually will become his prey. And if he doesn't fall into his hand, nofel beyad bano, he's going to fall into the hand of his son. So he chums up with some Russia, he's going to be chewed up by that Russia. And even if that doesn't happen, it'll happen with the Russia's children. Meaning, his association with this Russia, thinking that somehow it's going to behoove him, is ultimately going to boomerang back against him for bad.
What if you praise a Russia for doing a mitzvah? That's okay?
If he's praising him genuinely for the Russia's doing the mitzvah, so then that would be permitted. But he should not praise the Russia himself for having that good deed we saw here, because people would think that he's actually justifying the person. I mean, it would have to be clear that that the person disagrees with this person's way of life, everything that this person does, right? But there is this thing that he does do right. That you could point out. But if you're doing it to kind of deflect people's criticism of him, or to make this person feel like, you're accepting of him in general, because you're praising him for this one thing, so that's no good. We saw that. You can't do that.
So for Russia, not the person who's not the tzaddik,
Yeah.
He donates tons of money to a rabbi synagogue. Can the rabbi say, "Wow, you're doing such a mitzvah," and not say anything about anything else he does?
That's a good question. We've discussed how it probably, when we're talking here about Russia, the author probably means somebody who's like, and he does it like he's obstinate, intentional transgressor, right? But if the person is, let's just, not observant.
No, he's not observant, and also he doesn't want to be, and he knows that he should do certain things, and he doesn't.
Yeah, it's probably, that'd be a very challenging situation, right? Very, very questionable whether the rabbi should accept money from such a person.
In the first place.
Yeah. He's accepting money from this person. It's almost like, I don't know what the right word here is, but it's almost like it's almost like, he's giving this person the impression that he can pay him off for being a Russia. Why? Because I can be Michal Shabbos and not keep kosher and be obstinately not religious and everything like this, but the rabbi accepts my money, so that expiates me for my transgression. So it's probably a better idea not to take the money from that person.
Wow.
The yeshiva needs the money. But, right, and I would like nothing more to accept the money from you. We're friends, and I think you're a decent person, but we both know that you're not willing to learn Torah, consider Torah, believe in God, do anything like that. And I am concerned about taking the money from you and giving you the feeling that in this way you're filling your religious obligations and duties.
It's a right way of accepting it.
Huh?
There's a right way of accepting it.
I don't know if I would accept it. I'm saying, in such a situation, perhaps, I don't really know, but perhaps the rabbi should demur and say, therefore, I can't take the money. if you'd like me to take the money, then you're going to have to start keeping Shabbos. But otherwise, I can't receive it. Yeah. I like you very much. I love you very much.
That's flattery right there.
No, he probably has a good relationship. He probably has a relationship. The rabbi probably has a relationship with this person. I love you, like I've read a Jew. You're my fellow Jew. I respect you as a human being, but I would not be doing you a service if I take the money for the yeshiva, because more important than the yeshiva is your spiritual benefit, and you're likely to think that by giving the money, you're exempt from doing all the other mitzvahs. Therefore, unfortunately, I have to refrain. Oh, if I really want to give, I can't believe it. Right? So that would probably have a very strong effect on the person. If you say it the right way, it's not like you're saying your money is tainted, yes, or you're impure. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I would be doing you a disservice by taking the money as much as I need it. I would be doing you a disservice because it would give you the feeling that it expiates you from all the things that you're not doing right, that you're doing wrong. I don't have that personally against you. You have your own free will. But I don't want to give you that feeling. So, as difficult as it is for me, I'm going to have to refrain from your generous offer. If you'd like, I'll be willing to accept $1 million on condition that we learn Havrusa together once a week. So, if the person is just let's say, generically non-observant, so that's one thing. I hear, there's a question. But if you're saying the person is obstinately unobservant, so then, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So, Russia, Nova Biado. Towards the end of that first paragraph on the page, after the parenthesis, Kol Eda Shieshba Chanufa, any community which is, let's say, there's prevalent in it this type of self-serving flattery, Mu'usa Kanida, it is despicable like a menstruant. Shenemar, as it says, Ki Adas Chonef Galmud Ublasoif Goyla. A community of flatterers will be diminished, and ultimately it will be exiled. So that's why you see how bad this vacuous flattery is.
What does it mean, despicable,
like a menstruating woman, like a menstrual?
Despicable?
Yeah.
It's a natural thing.
It's a natural thing, it's true, but it's something which is impure. It's considered to be something which is impure. A person is required to become pure as a result of it, of that condition. So that's the point. Anita, a menstruating woman, like other people, men included, with other forms of impurity, are distanced from the community. That's the point. So a flatterer has to be distanced. And a community which is based on this flattery will be diminished and ultimately be exiled. And we're not talking about a community where it's considered to be polite to exchange mutual compliments. Again, we're not talking about that. It could be that should be avoided, but it's certainly not included in this type of prohibition. What we're talking about here is complimenting people with the intention of manipulating them and getting something and using them and getting things out of them. But when it's in a community where it's considered socially acceptable to say nice things to one another, that's not really flattery. That's not the type of flattery that we're talking about. That's a compliment. There's nothing wrong with a compliment. When it's done in the right way, with the right measure, in the right circumstance, and so forth and so on, it remains just a compliment, so that would be okay. For all of these reasons, a person should distance himself from this type of flattery. Nor flatter a person, which would have the result in kind of encouraging to maintain his wickedness, like we've discussed earlier. You're flattering and making him feel like everything's okay with him. Even if he could get great good from this person by complimenting him, still you can't do this. He shouldn't compliment, flatter his family or his children when they're not going in the right path. Mechmas shiroim she'ein lehem busha avur darchecham ha'mechorim. Because plenty of people continue to go in the bad path when they see that nobody is saying anything bad about what they're doing. V'avur shiroim shemanchivin lehem, because they see that on the contrary, people are actually flattering them. So they say, oh, so I'm justified in doing this, you see? Nobody's going against me. On the contrary, people are complimenting me. So it must be what I'm doing isn't so bad. People wouldn't be so scrupulous as to want to be my friend if I'm that bad. So it must be that what I'm doing is not so bad. And there's nothing in the world which inhibits tshuva like chanifus. Flattering a person, right, leveling over his misdeeds and mistakes, giving him the false sense that he's really okay when he's not. That's very serious business. Okay, I think we're going to have to end here.